Picture this. November 1st, 2004. Indian television was drowning in a sea of melodramatic family sagas where every family secret required 20 episodes to reveal, and every conversation happened in slow motion with dramatic background music. Then, quietly, almost unnoticed, a show premiered on Star One that dared to be different. A show that trusted its audience to appreciate wit over drama, subtlety over spectacle, intelligence over emotion. That show was Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai. And today, 2 decades later, it stands as one of the most beloved sitcoms in Indian television history. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. When it first aired, almost nobody watched it. The ratings were dismal. Critics barely acknowledged its existence. After just 67 episodes spread across 18 months, it was unceremoniously cancelled. And yet, somehow, through the magic of reruns, streaming platforms, and passionate word of mouth, this failed show transformed into a cultural phenomenon that continues to influence Indian comedy to this very day. This is the story of how a sophisticated sitcom about an upper-class Mumbai family became the benchmark for intelligent Indian comedy. This is the story of Maya's withering sarcasm, Monisha's middle-class habits, Indravadan's mischievous pranks, and Roshesh's absolutely terrible poetry. This is the story of Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai. Welcome to the Longing channel. So grab your chai, samosas or pakoras, settle in and let's dive deep into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon because we've got more nostalgic content coming your way. To understand Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai's impact, picture television during that time. Ekta Kapoor's soap operas ruled prime time. Shows like Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi dominated with their endless family feuds and elaborate conspiracies, pulling double-digit ratings. This was the entertainment landscape everyone assumed audiences wanted. Then came two Gujarati theatre veterans, Jamna Das Majethia and Atish Kapadia, who believed viewers were ready for something smarter. This show would laugh at upper-class pretensions while poking fun at middle-class insecurities, walking a tightrope between satire and warmth. Atish Kapadia's screenplay was surgically precise. Every line served multiple purposes: advancing plot, revealing character, landing jokes. No lazy writing or easy punchlines. The humor would emerge from worldviews colliding, from the small hypocrisies that make us human. Deven Bhojani made his debut as a director along with acting in a supportive role. This show was set in Cuff Parade, one of South Mumbai's most prestigious neighborhoods, where social status is measured in subtle gradations. This wasn't just a setting, it was a character itself, establishing Maya Sarabhai's world of privilege and propriety. The premise was deceptively simple. Maya and Indravadan Sarabhai, an upper-class Gujarati couple, lived with their youngest son Roshesh. Their eldest son Sahil, a cosmetic surgeon, lives across the hall with his wife Monisha. The central conflict? Maya is refined, cultured and convinced of her superior taste. Monisha is practical, thrifty and comfortable with her middle-class background. Sahil is caught eternally in the middle, desperately keeping peace between the two women he loves. Supporting characters added layers of comic possibility. Sonia, the self-proclaimed psychic who saw omens everywhere. Her husband Dushyant, obsessed with explaining household appliances. Indravadan's brother-in-law Madhusudan, whose hearing problems turned conversations into miscommunication exercises. What made the show special was its treatment of the central conflict. Maya's snobbery stemmed from social conditioning, not cruelty. Monisha's middle-class habits were practical responses to her values, not ignorance. The show didn't take sides. It found both women equally ridiculous and equally lovable. holding up a mirror to our own class prejudices. Ask anyone about Maya Sarabhai and they'll say elegant, sophisticated, and absolutely savage. Ratna Pathak Shah created a character who could destroy you with a raised eyebrow, turn compliments into delayed reaction insults, and convey utter disdain in perfectly modulated tones. Maya cared deeply about appearances, propriety, and maintaining standards in what she saw as an increasingly common world. Plastic flowers weren't just wrong, they were affronts to taste itself. Mispronounced cheese or incorrectly folded napkins were crimes against civilization. But Maya's brilliance lay in her complexity. She wasn't entirely wrong. She genuinely believed in culture, art, and intellectual pursuits. She attended charity galas because she cared, quoted philosophers she'd actually read, and possessed real sophistication, even if absurdly applied. Ratna Pathak Shah added layers the writing alone couldn't achieve. Her delivery of middle class with exquisite distaste became legendary. Yet she also revealed Maya's vulnerability, her genuine family love beneath constant criticism, and her fear of a changing world she couldn't control.
If Maya was the show's sharp edge, Indravadan was its warm heart. Satish Shah played a retired chemical engineer who decided life was too short to take anything, especially his wife's pretensions, seriously. Indravadan loved two things: having fun and annoying Maya. He played pranks, told terrible jokes, and defended Monisha partly because he enjoyed Maya's reactions. He was the eternal child who refused to grow up, making him the perfect foil to Maya's rigid propriety. But beneath the mischief, Satish Shah revealed something deeper. Indravadan's pranks weren't mean-spirited. Everything came from love. He teased Roches about his poetry and unemployment, but helped when it mattered. He supported Monisha to irritate Maya, but also because he appreciated her authenticity. The chemistry between Satish Shah and Ratna Pathak Shah was the show's backbone. They played a couple who bickered constantly, but whose love was never in doubt. Every eye roll, every Indravadan revealed decades of shared history. Sahil was the Sarabhai family's everyman, the calm eye in the hurricane. As a successful cosmetic surgeon, he represented the modern Indian professional, navigating between tradition and modernity, parental expectations, and marital harmony. Sumit Raghavan played Sahil with comedic restraint. While everyone else was larger than life, he remained grounded, practical, perpetually exhausted. His bewildered expressions, resigned sighs, and futile attempts at logic became running commentary on the surrounding absurdity. Sahil's genius was his impossible trap. Love your mother, love your wife, but what when they're fundamentally opposed? He tried diplomacy, distraction, occasionally hiding. Nothing worked. In his perpetual failure to keep peace, audiences saw themselves. Every son caught between mother and wife, every person trying to be reasonable in unreasonable situations. Monisha made Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai relatable to millions of middle-class Indians. She bought vegetables from local vendors, reused gift wrap, loved sales, watched soap operas unapologetically, and was comfortable in her skin in ways Maya found threatening. Rupali Ganguly played Monisha with infectious energy and unshakable confidence. Monisha knew Maya judged her constantly and simply didn't care. She liked who she was, proud of her practical approach. If that was middle class, maybe middle class wasn't so bad. What made Monisha heroic wasn't that she changed or won Maya over. It was that she remained herself, despite constant pressure to conform. She loved Sahil deeply, but wouldn't become someone else for his mother. Her stubborn authenticity represented something radical. You don't have to apologize for who you are. The Monisha Maya dynamic was the show's beating heart. Every episode featured their exchanges. Maya's withering observations met by Monisha's cheerful obliviousness or defined practicality. These weren't just jokes, they were philosophical debates about value and worth, disguised as household arguments. And then there was Roshesh. If one character achieved genuine immortality in Indian pop culture, it's this nasal-voiced, poetry-writing mama's boy who embodied everything lovable and mockable about artistic pretension. Rajesh Kumar created a character who could have been pathetic but became strangely endearing. Roshesh was a failed actor, writing objectively terrible poetry about frogs, clouds, toothpaste, and his mother. Masterpieces of unintentional comedy that technically rhymed but made no sense. Yet he delivered them with complete sincerity, convinced of his genius. The poetry gag never got old because Kumar found new angles. Sometimes the humor came from the poem itself, sometimes from family reactions, Indravadan and Sahil suppressing laughter while Maya beamed. Sometimes from everyone desperately trying to avoid another recitation. Beneath the comedy lay something sadder. Roshesh was trapped in childhood, unable to grow up because Maya's approval meant never facing consequences. His failure to launch wasn't entirely his fault. Maya had created a safe space where delusions thrived unchallenged. It was subtle commentary on parenting and enabling, wrapped in absurdist humor. No discussion of Sarabhai versus Sarabhai would be complete without the supporting players who added depth to the Sarabhai universe. Dushyant Painter, played by director Devan Bhojani, was the son-in-law and engineer who couldn't resist explaining everything from refrigerators to relationships. His catchphrase, "I'll explain," became synonymous with unwanted technical assistance. Bhojani's deadpan delivery made even incomprehensible explanations sound reasonable. Sonia Sarabhai, the family's daughter and self-proclaimed psychic, interpreted random events as cosmic signs. Played by Kshiti Jog, she represented upper-class sophistication meeting superstitious belief, adding another layer of absurdity. Madhusudan, Indravadan's brother-in-law, couldn't hear anything properly. Every conversation became miscommunication. His constant "hein" punctuated scenes with perfectly timed confusion. Arvind Vaidya played Madhusudan's role with remarkable range. What separated Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai from other Indian sitcoms wasn't just performances or concept, it was the writing. Atish Kapadia crafted dialogue that worked on multiple levels, jokes that revealed character, exchanges that advanced plot while making you laugh. The show never explained its jokes, trusting audiences to grasp references, social commentary, and wordplay. When Maya corrected Monisha's pronunciation, humor came from recognizing social dynamics. When Indravatan pranked Roshesh, comedy emerged from established character relationships. The writing was remarkably efficient. 23-minute episodes established situations, developed complications, and resolved satisfyingly without predictability. No wasted time, no filler. Every moment served a purpose. The dialogue was a masterclass in character voice. Maya's perfectly constructed sentences with subtle barbs, Indravatan's playful teasing, Sahil's desperate attempts at reason, Monisha's cheerful practicality, Roshesh's pompous declarations, Dushyant's technical jargon. Each character spoke distinctly, reflecting their personality and worldview. Running gags built over time. Roshesh's poetry worsened, Dushyant's explanations became more incomprehensible, Maya's middle-class pronunciations achieved new disdain levels. These weren't just repeated jokes, they were deepening character traits. The technical aspects were equally revolutionary. Sets representing upper-class Mumbai felt lived in, not artificial.
Maya's apartment reflected her taste. Elegant furniture, curated artwork, everything properly placed. Monisha and Sahil's apartment showed her influence. Comfortable, practical, occasionally cluttered. This spatial contrast visually reinforced the show's central conflict. Camera work was straightforward, letting dialogue and performances shine. Unlike elaborate movements and dramatic close-ups of contemporary soaps, Sarabhai kept its visual style simple. Wide shots established character relationships. Medium shots captured reactions. Close-ups emphasized rather than dramatized. Even the theme song's light, jazzy piano riff set the tone before a word was spoken, signaling sophistication, urbanity, and wit, preparing you for the world ahead.
Here's where the story turns unexpectedly. Despite its brilliance, Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai failed spectacularly in its original run. Premiering November 1, 2004 on Star One, almost nobody watched. It was a ratings disaster. In a 2015 interview, Satish Shah shocked fans. By the time people got to know it's a good serial and started watching, it was taken off air due to lack of TRPs. It was the first failure of my career on TV. I felt bad. One of India's most beloved comic actors called it his first television failure. On April 16, 2006, after just 67 episodes, the show ended. No grand finale. Just cancelled. Then something magical happened. The show began rerunning daily instead of weekly. Suddenly, people watched. Word spread. Office workers discussed episodes. College students quoted dialogues. YouTube clips went viral. DVDs sold out. Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai became a cult classic. Not through nostalgia, but genuine discovery. People realized what they'd missed. By 2010, it was a cultural touchstone. Monisha, this is so middle class. And Mama, I wrote a poem, entered the language. Maya's eye rolls became GIFs. A show that failed in 2004 found millions of fans a decade later.
In June 2016, the cast reunited for Satish Shah's 65th birthday. Fans noticed. Social media erupted. Then it was official. Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai was coming back. On May 15, 2017, Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai Take 2 premiered on Hotstar with the entire original cast. Set 7 years later, Sahil and Monisha now had a son. Maya still judged. Monisha still resisted. Sahil still mediated. And Roshesh still wrote terrible poetry. The 13-episode revival proved the chemistry hadn't faded. The writing remained sharp, performances brilliant. But the show had become self-aware, referencing its cult status and breaking the fourth wall. This meta-humor worked for long-time fans, but created distance from the original's simple pleasures. Television had also changed. Streaming gave audiences global comedy access, raising the bar. Take 2 was good, but couldn't recreate the magic of discovering something brilliant unexpectedly. Still, getting cancelled, achieving cult status, and reviving a decade later with the original cast was remarkable, a testament to the show's enduring appeal.
20 years later, Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai remains the benchmark for intelligent Indian comedy. Its influence appears in every sitcom that followed. It proved Indian audiences wanted sophisticated humor without laugh tracks or exaggeration. The show's universality makes it timeless. Everyone knows a Maya or Monisha has been caught between loyalties like Sahil or has a family member overly invested in hobbies like Roshesh. The specifics were Mumbai upper-class Gujarati, but the dynamics were universal. The humor aged well because it was based on character and observation, not topical references. A A joke about Maya's pretension or Monisha's practicality works as well in 2025 as 2004. Most importantly, Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai proved Indian audiences embrace intelligence. Its original failure wasn't because audiences weren't ready. They simply didn't know it existed. Once discovered, they loved it completely. The journey from failure to phenomenon shows good art eventually finds its audience. Revisiting Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai today, what strikes you isn't just how funny it remains. It's the care in every aspect. Writing that never talked down. Performances finding humanity in caricature. Direction trusting the material enough to keep it simple. In a changed television landscape of streaming platforms and shrinking attention spans, Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai remains relevant. It's comfort food for the soul. A reminder when television could be smart and warm simultaneously. When family comedy meant wit and heart in perfect balance.
So, revisit the Sarabhais. Watch Maya roll her eyes at Monisha's middle-class offenses. Watch Indravadan plot pranks. Watch Sahil sigh in exhausted resignation. Watch Roshesh prepare another awful poem. Remember what television can be when everyone cares about making something special. That's Sarabhai vs. Sarabhai's legacy. Proof that intelligent comedy finds an audience, quality eventually wins, and sometimes the shows we love most dare to be different. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe to the Longing channel for more retrospectives on shows and movies that shaped our culture. Drop a comment with your favorite Sarabhai moment or which character you relate to most. Whether Team Maya or Team Monisha, we can all agree it's catastrophically wonderful television.